Every culture or group of people has a story to tell. African Americans are no different. We too have a story, a proud story, a history of survival and success. The identity of Black America rests partly in the story of our tremendous struggle to survive. I don't need to tell you that we have had enormous challenges and obstacles to overcome. Relying on the strength of our cultural heritage, African Americans seek a brighter future for ourselves and our children. The Life of a People is an educational presentation created by Right to Life of Michigan in collaboration with Dayton Right to Life, to help identify the not-so-obvious challenges and obstacles placed in our path today. This may be new information for you, and I know you'll probably have questions, and that's great. But I have a request. That is that you hold your questions until the end so we can get through this presentation in an efficient and timely manner. The threats to the African American community are numerous and varied. I don't think anyone would argue with that poverty is a real threat. Many in the Black community are experiencing economic oppression and hardship, especially in our nation's larger cities. Just pick up a newspaper or listen to the radio or TV. Crime and violence runs rampant in our city streets. How many young Black men are now locked up in prison? Drugs, alcohol, and the crime that goes with them, substance abuse strikes at the heart of too many Black families. HIV, AIDS, continues to be a threat to all America, but in particular to the African Americans, who are the most affected more than any other racial group or ethnic group. Infant mortality among Black babies from birth up to 1 year old is tragically high, especially in Detroit. And the breakdown of the traditional Black family. How many Black households are now headed by single mothers or grandparents? The husband and fathers are missing from the home, and that has taken a great toll on our Black youth. But do you know what the leading cause of death is among African Americans? It is abortion. We have tragically aborted over 17 million unborn Black babies in this country since the Supreme Court ruling of Roe v. Wade gave women the right to choose abortion in 1973. Before that, it was illegal in the United States. Over 17 million unborn Black babies have been aborted in those 40 years. Talk about a national tragedy. Over 17 million Black babies that have been aborted. Every day in the United States, we abort more than 3,000 unborn babies of all races. That totals up to 1.2 million abortions each year. That's more than 55 million unborn babies of all races in the past 40 years. But African American women have disproportionately numbers of abortions. In fact, 37% of all abortions are performed on black women. But blacks represent only 13% of the general population. Something is definitely wrong. Because the increased number of abortions among blacks, the impact on the community is sobering. More than 360 unborn black babies die each year as a result of legalized abortion. That's roughly the combined Michigan population of Bay City, Grand Rapids, Muskegon, and Dearborn, all combined. Over 17 million unborn black babies were never given the chance at life. We aborted over 17 million. Did you know that every day in our country, over 1,000 black women make the choice to abort their unborn children? Every single day. Since abortions were first tracked in Michigan beginning in 1980, there have been a total of 1,040,595 occurrences of induced abortion for all races. In 2010, there was a total of 23,307, and in 2011, a slight increase with 23,366 abortions. Black women continue to have a higher percentage of abortions than any other race or ethnic group in the state. In fact, 47% of all abortions. It's important to understand how abortion has affected the black population in Michigan. In 2010, there were 10,016 reported induced abortions for black women. Newly released statistics show that 10,729 black abortions were reported in 2011, an increase of 713. Women of all races and ethnic backgrounds have often chosen abortion because they don't think they have any other option. Of course, we know that that is not the case, but perception is oftentimes reality. The truth of the matter is that 95% of black women having abortions are not married. It's hard not to see the glaring absence of a man and father in these numbers. Nearly 21% of black women having abortions have had one or more abortions in the past. In 2011, that says 2,253 black women had a repeat abortion in Michigan. 36.4% of Michigan abortions involving black women in 2011 fell within the 20 to 24 age range. The next highest grouping is black women 25 to 29 years old. They are responsible for 23.2% of black abortions in the state. So what do we do with these numbers? Simply stated, it means that our people are not thriving. Our children are not getting a chance at life. The choice we make to abort our unborn children has consequences. Did you know that blacks are no longer the largest minority in the United States? From 1990 to 2000, the African American population was larger than Hispanic. But from 2000 to 2011, the Hispanic community grew by more than 19 million people, 12.2 million larger than blacks. Hispanics are now the largest minority in the United States. Unfortunately, abortion has played a significant role in the reversal of these population figures. The numbers here show that even though other races and ethnic groups are having abortions in Michigan, unmarried black women are having the highest percentage of abortions. In fact, 8.6% more than whites. The fact is, we abort more of our unborn children than any other racial group. Why is that? This growing trend of more abortions in the black community is not an accident. African Americans have been targeted by population control groups that believe some people should not be allowed to have children, that people of color and the poor are a big part of the overpopulation problem, and they need to be managed. There's no disguising that bigotry and racism has raised its ugly head. Take, for example, the abortion practices of Planned Parenthood clinics. The organization's name is misleading. Planned Parenthood is the largest abortion provider in the country. In 2011, their 750 clinics reported 334,000 abortions. In 2010-2011, they received $542 million in government funding. Tax dollars, your money. Where are many of the Planned Parenthood abortion clinics located? In minority neighborhoods and near college campuses. If you're not familiar with the name Margaret Sanger, you need to be. She was one of 11 children who later came to equate large families with economic poverty. She was very interested in the practice of eugenics. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, eugenics is, quote, a science that deals with the improvement as by control of human mating of hereditary qualities of race or breed, end quote. Sanger embraced this movement wholeheartedly. She believed in the promotion of quality, not quantity, when it came to her subjective list of undesirable human beings. Margaret Sanger was also the founder of Planned Parenthood. Think again. Where are many Planned Parenthood abortion clinics located? In minority neighborhoods and near college campuses. The Religious Coalition for Reproduction is another disturbing group that you will want to become aware of. Their goal is to infiltrate the black church with a message that traditional Bible teaching about abortion and sexuality are wrong. Pastors and teens are the target of this group. Pastors are some of the most influential people in the black community. Young girls and women are those most likely to fall prey to abortion due to unexpected pregnancies. It's no surprise that this group uses twisted scriptures to promote their pro-abortion message, stating abortion rights are biblically grounded. Nothing could be further from the truth. We face untold threats and consequences because people have been convinced, fooled, that choice is more important than a child. In the womb, we are the most innocent and the most vulnerable to someone else's choice. At the moment of conception, when the egg and the sperm unite, we have life. A new human being, a child created in the image and the likeness of God has been given life. It's always a miraculous event. Did you know this unborn child has a heartbeat at 21 days? That is less than 1 month. A woman doesn't even suspect that she's pregnant yet. At 42 days, brain waves can be detected. Even though we use the absence of brain waves to determine if someone is legally dead, the presence of brain waves in an unborn child does not legally establish them as being alive. Something wrong with that logic. At 56 days, all the organs of the body are formed. The mother is only 2 months along and not even close to showing. But her baby is fully formed and only needs time to grow. Abortion is a violent act. It ends the life of a tiny and defenseless unborn child because that's what it was designed to do. What I'm about to show you are 2 very graphic pictures of what choice in our country has become. Abortion is ugly and shocking. These will be difficult for you to look at, but I encourage you to see for yourself what a woman's right to choose looks like. Here, a pregnant mother made the choice to abort her unborn child when she was 5 months pregnant. This is not a pretty picture. It's the horrible truth laid before your eyes, and it happens more than 3,000 times each day in this country. If we feel the need to look away from this violence, then perhaps we need to do something to put an end to abortion. The right to choose has been expanded to such an extreme that babies can now be killed even when they are more born than unborn. You're looking at partial birth abortion, a totally inhumane procedure where the baby is pulled feet first from the mother's womb and birthed, except for the head. The abortionist then jams a pair of surgical scissors into the back of the baby's skull to open a hole, sticks in the suction tube, sucks out the brain to collapse the head, and delivers the baby dead. Before the federal partial birth abortion ban in April of 2007, this procedure occurred more than 5,000 times a year in our country. While federal and Michigan legislation bans this procedure, pro-life groups are concerned partial birth abortions are still being performed by abortionists who no longer fear being prosecuted by federal authorities. Now ask yourself, what has choice become? Definitely a 6-letter word that's code for abortion. But it also means violent death, broken families, injured women, and devalued society. But nobody's talking about abortion in the African American community. Why? What are they telling us? They're not telling us that abortion is a choice with consequences. It affects the woman for a lifetime. that there are over 100 physical and emotional consequences for women who have had an abortion. Physically, they can suffer from infection, dangerous blood loss, future difficulties getting pregnant, and even death. Emotionally, they can suffer from stress, depression, lack of sex drive, inability to trust men, and damaged self-esteem. The suicide rate among post-abortive women is up to 9 times higher than among women in general. Black women face even further risks. Although breast cancer is a threat to all women, did you know that breast cancer is even more deadly among black women? It's true. Tragically, abortion makes the risk even higher. One study out of Howard University found that black women who abort their first pregnancy have a 2.8 to 4.7 times greater risk of developing breast cancer. But abortion affects more people than just women and babies. There are usually other children born who are missing brothers and sisters, men who want to raise their child and stop the abortion have no legal right. They can do nothing. Husbands and fathers who did not defend the life of their child often come to know guilt and remorse for their decision and or inaction in later years. Loving grandparents and other family members who pressure a girl or a young woman into an abortion often mourn the loss of the child that was part of their family tree. Well-meaning friends giving advice often aid and encourage a woman or teen to have an abortion, only to understand later that abortion also haunts people who have never had one themselves. Let's be clear, however. Abortion is a moral wrong. It is not a God-given right. In our country, legal and moral are not always the same thing. Some laws are just not good laws. They can be unjust and oppress those who are disadvantaged and vulnerable. Abortion victimizes and harms women. It does not liberate them. Abortion kills our unborn children. Over 17 million African Americans since 1973. Abortion devalues our families. There are huge branches of the family tree that no one will ever know. Abortion cheapens life. It basically says that life has no or little value. Abortion steals from our people and our future. If children are our greatest resource, then our futures are being stolen. Who have we lost to abortion in the African American community since 1973? The next Martin Luther King Jr., the next me, the next Bishop Bradley, the next Diane Brookins. Who have we lost? We'll never know. So now, what do we do with all this information? We believe that we get down on our knees and we pray and we ask God for his love and his mercy. We ask him to heal our people. And then we get up and we get involved. We need to teach and promote the value of life at every opportunity. People don't know what you've just learned. Who's going to tell them if you don't? Reach out to those in an unplanned pregnancy, because It's not enough to tell the woman to have the child and walk away. We need to surround her with help and hope so she can make the right choice for life. We need to be ready to minister to women and men hurting from abortion. And our job is not to judge, but to let them know we serve a loving and a merciful God who is ready to forgive and heal your pain, their pain, our pain. We need to educate others on the health risks of abortion. How many women know about the abortion breast cancer link or the 100 physical and emotional consequences of a post-abortive woman? We need to promote abstinence among our young people. Thankfully, there are many different abstinence programs currently in place throughout the United States. This is where young adults have the right to choose the choice of whether or not to have sex in the first place. We are fortunate in this area to have Compassion Pregnancy, who has a wonderful abstinence program. We need to take advantage of this. And finally, pray boldly and always that God will bless our work and allow us to see his hand with an end to the needless killing of our unborn children. Abortion is a destructive solution that is always the wrong choice, a choice that is not worthy of a woman. As I mentioned when I began the presentation, I would be pleased to take your questions and provide some additional material. We have a lot of tables set up. There's all kind of material, all kind of information available to you tonight. And if not today, we're available all the time. There are those of us that have given our life to this. There's the address, there's the website. Call the numbers, reach out, and get involved. Amen. Thank you for your attention.
I want to introduce Bishop Bradley. Bishop Bradley is pastor of this great church, Bethlehem Temple Apostolic Faith Church right here in Clinton Township. He serves as president of the Macomb County Ministerial Alliance, an alliance of pastors whose mission is to better the social and economical conditions of minorities in Macomb County. He was a sitting member of the board of directors of both New Detroit and the southeastern region of the Red Cross. Pastor Bradley was elevated to the office of suffragan bishop in the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World Incorporated. His investiture, under the direction of Diocesan Bishop Harry L. Herman, took place in March of 2009. He currently serves as investment counselor to the Northern District Council of the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World Incorporated. Bishop Bradley and his wife, Sister Nancy S. Hoke, have 4 children and 8 grandchildren. Is that 9? 9 grandchildren. See, I remember. Please join me in welcoming Bishop Bradley as he shares with us what God has laid on his heart this evening.
See that Pastor Terrence Standifer, I see that he is here, and I'd like for him to stand. He is the new president of the Macomb County Ministerial Alliance. He's a pastor of Tridestone Missionary Baptist Church, and I would like for him to meet Kathy when this event is over. As we transition here, as I work my way through this maze of technology, And when I purchased my latest vehicle, now 2 years old, I couldn't figure out how to work anything. So I went back to the dealer and I said to him, so that you will know where I've come from and why I can't do this technology, I want you to know that I was around when there was the Victrola. I think he got the point. Hopefully next year, Sister Tawana Wright is going to tell her story, because she has suffered a great loss and she's slowly gaining the victory, and that's why we wanted her to do her liturgical presentation today. And through confession, it's a story that's got to be told, and I know that she's going to tell that story because God has done great things for her, and judgment begins at the house of God. So her day is going to come. This is the 40th year since Roe v. Wade, and I think that the theme is appropriate. Lord, have mercy. Now I want you to take note. I want every pro-abortioner that's sitting here. I want every pro-life advocate that's sitting here. I want friend and foe of our cause that are sitting here. I want you to think about this. If you are alive today, there is a 100% certainty that your parents were pro-life. Did you catch that? How is it then that you, whose parents were pro-life, somewhere in your matriculation want to deny the unborn that which your parents did not deny you before you were born? Now, the flaw in this country is the consequence of what I call making laws by the exception to the rule. When laws are made by the exception to the rule, that affects all. When laws are made and someone has a personal and private agenda, political, personal or otherwise, and so to promote their agenda, they seek out some one incident that would solicit sympathy from the masses, and they finally find that person, and because of that sympathy, they make laws to right the one occurrence that took place, just that one occurrence. What you have is a law to right a wrong of one individual that has a deleterious effect on all individuals in all of society. Let me give you an example of that, because a lady told me her story, and when she heard my opinion, whether she agreed with me or not, I think I made the point. For example, and this was the example that she used, one person many decades ago was pregnant, the young girl was, and in despair. She was in a restroom, the other lady was in the other restroom. She wanted to end her pregnancy with a coat hanger, which she did. It was done, and she bled to death in that restroom, and she died. Here was the solution. The solution was to ensure that no such tragedy ever occurs again, the one exception to the rule. And there's consequences for behavior. But the solution was to ensure that no such incident occur again, we will enact a law. We're going to enact a law to make it easy that no single woman will ever have to do this again, and she'll be able to, if she wants to, terminate the baby that she doesn't want. The one law for the one woman, for the one incident that took place. And there was such a law. That law was called Roe v. Wade. Now, there'll be no more deaths due to the single action of any one young woman who's in distress because of a bad decision. What should have occurred is that both she and the young man should have been willing to reap the just punishment for their actions without the death of another life. All of us all of us have at some point had to reap the just punishment for an action of ours that we singularly done. And we should never compound a wrong with a greater wrong. So the result of that one incident, 50,000 plus deaths for any reason, even if it is simply another form of birth control, has occurred because of that one single incident. The result, the death of not the 50,000, not that one single generation of the 50,000 individuals, but the 3 generations in the last 40 years. Not just the 50,000, but the millions of children and grandchildren that weren't added to the statistics that would have come out of the loins of those 50 million. 1/6 of the U.S. population is missing.
Wow.
They never got here.
Wow.
They've been aborted. 1/6 of this country with their purchasing power to purchase houses and automobiles, in which case we would probably not have an economic slump. The result of this one incident in that restroom, a black community is in decline, with declining numbers based on our percentage of the total American population. Black America is on the decline. Our numbers are shrinking. We're no longer the largest minority, but the second largest minority, and we're shrinking. We have events throughout the years, and this is the 3rd year that this great event has been taking place. And you've come into the African American community I'm talking about, Lord have mercy. And we come, and there are more whites coming into a black environment to help us in our own people. There's a problem there, and we thank those that do come, but we need to slap ourselves awake, which I'm going to address here, because the theme is Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy means somebody is mad, and Bishop Bradley is mad, and God became so angry at Ahab. He became so angry at 2 other persons in the Bible that I'm glad that whatever calmed him down, because he said, I am so angry, I'm going to destroy everything that pisseth on a wall. And thank God he stopped there. And our enemies seek to mute us, and in certain instances we are afraid to speak against what's politically correct. In most instances, that which is politically correct, remember, if it's politically correct, in most instances is wrong. If it's politically correct, in most instances it's harmful to society. And yes, Right to Life's theme after 40 years of this mess is Lord have mercy. The success of pro-life our community, the pro-choice rather, the success of pro-choice, the pro-abortion community, is that they've been successful in muting and embarrassing pro-life into talking about abortion, but keeping the pictures of abortion out of view. This is abortion. Wichita, Kansas, 1983, 6 pounds near full term, salt poisoned baby born alive. He was to be incinerated in a batch with cats and dogs. One doctor suggested that his collagen was removed while he was alive. If you look closer at the left wrist, you can see a hospital band, which most likely infers that it was born alive. Without the visual evidence, we're not able to adequately make our case. We've been embarrassed to have words without pictures, without bodies, the evidence, the body of the murdered babies. We can't prove that a crime has been committed because we're told don't show the pictures. We actually, when we do show the pictures, apologize for a few non-offensive pictures that we do display, which means we're fitting into the politically correct mode. These are not the methods used to drill into our heads and our children's head. These are not the methods used to drill into our heads and our children's heads when pro-abortionists want to make their case. When they want to make their case, they show pictures. But when it comes time for us to make our cases, hide the pictures. When they want to make their case, they show their evidence. They use pictures and videos. Consider the Humane Society. They make their case. They get their contributions, and they use pictures. They make their point, but they also use pictures. They draw emotional support because they use pictures. Pro-life really should rightfully be called humane. We're really the Humane Society, because within the word humane in society is the word human. But no, the Humane Society should be about humans, because human is in the word. It should be about humans. It shouldn't be about animals. It's the Humane Society. It should be about humans. The society should be called the Animane Society. The society has been effective because of pictures, and it's oxymoronic, Humane Society and animals. And one picture is worth 1,000 words. Now, when you see this video, I want you to note the key words that they use that paints a picture as they're showing the pictures. Listen to the words with what they put with the word, "What will I eat?" Why do they keep beating me? The words animals, neglected, tortures, killed. The word unspeakable cruelty. The soft words, give love and care as they draw you in. To get solidarity, join the fight. Animal cruelty. I like this one because they are not ashamed to show the pictures. They're going to use this phrase, listen to it at about 1 minute and 12 seconds in. If these images are disturbing, then please help. They don't tell you to look away or to apologize. They say, we're going to show it to you. We're going to put it in your face. And if they disturb you, help us. And then they say, please, don't wait.
Every day, thousands of animals throughout America are neglected, tortured, and often killed. But you can help stop this horrible abuse by supporting the Humane Society of the United States. With your generous donation, you can be a partner in our ongoing fight to end unspeakable cruelty, rescue these innocent animals, and give them the love and care they so desperately deserve. For just $19 a month, you can join the Humane Society of the United States in our fight to eliminate animal abuse everywhere. Call in the next 20 minutes to join our fight. We'll also send you this special jacket so everyone will know you're supporting the fight against animal cruelty. And we'll also send you a free subscription to our award-winning magazine, All Animals. No matter what you can afford, please call the number on your screen right now or visit us online to fight animal cruelty with your donation. If you love animals, if these images disturb you, then please help us end this senseless cruelty and abuse right now. Please don't wait. Your donation today could be the difference between life and death for these helpless creatures. No matter what you can afford, please call the number on your screen right now or visit us online to fight animal cruelty with your donation.
Call now 1-800-419-7062 and get your free official HSUS jacket and magazine subscription. That's 1-800-419-7062 for your free jacket and magazine subscription.
Now, isn't that interesting? That these same individuals will recoil if we were to put together a same presentation showing a collage of aborted fetuses. And then how dare we not make the statement that these are disturbing, or even to put them out there. Well, my brothers and sisters, because I'm upset, I'm putting them out there. I'm going to put them out there tonight. And while we think our children can be harmed by this, what your children know that you don't know will shock you. Did you note they are non-concerned about the potential offensive nature of their pictures? Did you hear the speaker say, if these pictures disturb you, but they still put them out there anyway? They show them anyway and then tell us to not show ours because of the offensive nature of our visuals. Well, we need to be as hard-hitting as they are because our cause is more just. I say no to this. I say no to this in the 40 years since Roe v. Wade. I say no to this because of the carnage that's taking place in this country, in our community, and even worldwide. And I want to use the visuals also. This is the picture that should be there when the question was asked, what will I eat? This baby didn't have a chance to eat anything. This is the 40th year of this horror, and I say no. Why do they keep probing me, trying to pull me out of the womb? Is what should be said as this picture of an aborted, fully developed fetus is taken out of the womb. That's why I say no, and that's why I'm angry. Why couldn't I be born? Why didn't I have a chance? I could have been, if I could have been born, I could have been 40 years old today. If I'd been allowed to be born and had gotten married and had a child at 20 years old, I would have had a 20-year-old son today. If my 20-year-old son had been here and had gotten married at 19, at 20, I would have grandchildren today. So why wasn't I allowed to be born? And why am I hidden under the cover? Yes, 40 years later, we should be crying out, Lord, have mercy. Why didn't I get out alive? Why didn't I have a chance to suck from a breast? I went on the website, worldmeters.info/abortion, worldwide since January, from January the 1st to February the 12th of this year, 4,995,698 abortions have taken place. The second month isn't over. Worldwide, 116,179, based on those numbers, abortions are taking place worldwide every day. Don't you think that it is, Lord have mercy? Don't you think that if all of these fetuses were heaped on a hill, that God and nation would be horrified? 4,841 abortions take place every hour. This is what happens to humanity that was formed in the womb. This is what humanity, this is what humans have gotten to in this day. 81 abortions take place every month. I don't have a problem. Someone walks into my office and say they're considering abortion. I hit a key and every one of these slides go by. And no one has been able to sit through every one of them. Someone said, why is the body black? That's that salted solution that's injected in the womb, which means the baby is being burned on the inside. The baby is kicking, wanting to survive, and can't survive because somebody has made that decision. Shouldn't you be mad? 3 abortions worldwide take place every 2 seconds. And since we have a prayer vigil at an abortion clinic over there on Dodge Park, then the truck pulls up with this little truck to take out all of the tissue and cart them away. This should be alarming because God is mad. And we're going to see that. Chemical abortion. A precious 4.5-month-old little girl burned by the saline solution used to abort her. 4,000 babies aborted each day in this country. 1 every 22nd. Abortion legal through the 9th month of pregnancy. We've been led to believe that having an abortion is removing a mass of tissue. Look at this little girl. Is she tissue? Ripped apart as they try to bring that baby out of the womb. Dissected. Torn apart. Dismembered. Tissue. A tumor. This is horror of horrors. This is insulting to humanity. And then they're going to put pictures on television in a commercial about dogs and cats. But we can't get ours on TV. 2.2 is the replacement rate. There must be 2.2 live births per every female born for a nation to maintain itself. The reason for the 0.2 is because there are some females that won't have children. So you got to put the 0.2 in there because there are some that just won't have children or can't have children. So for them to maintain themselves, it's not 2.0, but it's got to be 2.2. If America wants to maintain its numbers, there's got to be 2.2 births per live female. And if a population wants to maintain its population, there has to be 2.2 births. If an ethnicity, Negroid, Mongoloid, Australoid, or Caucasoid, if they want to maintain their ethnicity, there's got to be 2.2 births per female born. Caucasians, it ain't happening. You're slowly declining in numbers. Because yours is 1.9, you need 2.2. I'm not even going to tell you who's doing 2.2 and higher. But we African Americans, us who won't get involved in making a stand at an abortion clinic, hardly able to get them to come to a church to hear what is happening to us, our numbers are 0.8. With these declining numbers, you can actually predict the date of our extinction. And so as with Sodom and Gomorrah, the Lord, who knows all things, so horrified about the message that's reaching heaven, he goes and he says to Abraham, because of the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, and I'm God who knows all things, I cannot believe this, I am going to go down. I've got to see this for myself. I've got to see the mounds of 100,000 babies per day heaped up on a high hill, aborted out of the womb. I must go down and see what humanity is doing and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry that have come up into heaven, which is too horrible for me to believe. And when I come down and see it, and if it's true, then I'll know. God said that. And so he came down to hear the screams. Lord, have mercy. They didn't even know that before the body is even formed in the womb, God's eyes are on it. Psalms 139:16. There's no substance, the psalmist says. There's no substance, and yet God says that's life. Job says he builds me in the womb, and as he builds me like a fence, he clothes me with flesh, and he knits me together and sews me together the way he wants to with bone and sinew to make me human. And we don't see it that way. And then Jesus was a thing before he was a person. And the angel told Joseph, that thing that's forming in the womb of Mary, that holy thing which shall be born of thee shall be called the Son of God. It was a thing before it was a person, and God said it was still a person. Here's the culprit. This hellish lady called Margaret Sanger. She formed what was called the American Birth Control League in the early 1920s. You heard what the life of the people had to say about her. I won't go into that. This American Birth Control League is what became Planned Parenthood. She is the mother of Planned Parenthood. She's applauded in Congress. She's applauded in Washington. African leaders, Hillary Clinton and all, applaud this lady, this founder of Planned Parenthood, with her surreptitious contrivance that we're going to take a look at momentarily. Because initially she started something that was the purification of the American society. There will be the sterilization of the unfit. We will determine who the unfit are, and we will move to begin to sterilize them so that with the Hitlerian goal of the master race, we can have the purified society that would be without compassion. She also formed something that was called the Negro Project to deal with the reproductive practices of African Americans, because our numbers were greater than 2.2. And that had to be halted. In 1939, a doctor by the name of Dr. Clarence Gamble was selected, working with her to become the regional director of the South. Dr. Gamble of the soap manufacturing Procter & Gamble company was no newcomer to Sanger's organization. He had previously served as director at large to the ABCL. Gamble lost no time and drew up a memorandum in November '39 entitled "Suggestions for Your Negro Project, Margaret Sanger," acknowledging that black leaders might regard birth control as an extermination plot. He suggested that black leaders be placed in position where it would appear that they were the ones that were actually in charge. And they would not be decrying abortion because it's their idea. It's evident from the rest of the memo that Gamble conceived the project almost as we'll go down south. It'll be a traveling road show. We'll get a charismatic black minister who will start the revival, and then contributions would come from other local cooperating black ministers, and we'll get a colored nurse would follow, supported by a subsidized colored doctor. Gamble even suggested that music be a useful lure to bring the prospects to the meeting. Sanger agreed. She agreed December the 10th, 1939, and these are her words, not mine, this founder of Planned Parenthood. "We do not want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population, and the black minister is the man who can straighten that idea out if it ever got to Pastor Bradley. If it ever occurred to any of their more rebellious members, such as ourselves." So the resulting timeline was, there was Margaret Sanger, there was the ABCL, from that came the Negro Project, from that came Planned Parenthood, from that came 2.2 in the African American community, down to 0.8, the largest minority during the civil rights movement of the last decade, and can hardly hold on to the second minority today. We have declining populations, and we're slowly moving to extinction. You can predict the date that we will no longer exist in the United States if this trend continues. I don't know how you've taken this. This is 40 years. Lord have mercy. I get up early in the morning and I go out to an abortion clinic and with the church, and I'll continue to do this, and I'm horrified at what I see. Only thing that I've come to do is to present the truth to you. All I've come to do is to present the pictures to you. All I've come to do is for you to do some introspection, to reevaluate and think and make a decision as to what your view is on it. And to talk to your sons and your daughters and make a decision that, as African Americans, I'm saying that we shouldn't deny the reality of the fact that there are white people that come out every Black History Month to our churches to jar us awake when we should be jarring ourselves awake. And we've got to look reflectively at the mirror and see what the issue is and what the problem really is. And then now we can work together to end what's going on that is impacting all of humanity, which is a dredge on society and tearing us down. And the Bible cries out ultimately and finally in John chapter 8, verse number 32, you shall know the truth, which you've heard. And what you do when you walk out of here will determine whether this truth that you heard will finally break you free of your shackles and set you free. Thank you.